Give me a second. Okay. I'm getting there. Promise. Promise.
One of my favorite songs here.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? I turned down my headphones, so I don't know how this is coming through. Well, I found my intro music. I'm going to mix it in, but just for now, I just want to. I hope you can hear it through there because you should be able to. Oh, my YouTube is so choppy. I hope this is coming through all right. Okay, well, we've got intro music now. I guess that's a thing that's happening, so that's good. Hi, how's everybody doing out there? How's your week been? Welcome to Saturday, and I've decided what I'm changing my podcast to. I'm changing it to the "I Told You So" podcast. So there you go. I'll probably scrap all the old episodes. So who cares? If you want to go through them, they're fun. All my episodes are fun. Can we be just honest about that? They're all fun. We enjoy all of them. Okay. Um, so what was I going to say? Oh yeah. Okay. So David Lynch died. David Lynch died. And what's funny is in my daily life, I was surrounded by people who knew who David Lynch was. Like, I really did think that everybody I knew David Lynch, at least had seen his movies. Let me put it this way. Even if you didn't know him, I felt like everybody, if you mentioned him, would be like, oh, yeah, David. Everybody I work with, nobody knew who David Lynch was. It was insane. It was crazy. It was like Twilight Zone-ish. I really didn't know what to think. I was a little shocked. Even when I started just going through them, Razorhead, Blue Velvet, blah, blah, blah. And nobody knew. Nobody knew. They had to look him up. They had to Google him, which I think is insane. Absolutely insane. Sorry, I'm looking around. I have a lot going on. Plus, I have, of course, the dog down here. No, enough. Go. Oh, maybe that worked. So that was shocking. That was shocking. And because he died, don't worry. This podcast is not about David Lynch. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like David Lynch, but I'm not that vested. Maybe I will be one day, though. Maybe I will do a podcast because I do know a lot about him. And I believe I've seen everything that David Lynch. Oh, I guess I should say something. Okay, so I'm changing this to the "I Told You So" podcast. I am. Hey, what's going on, Paul? So I'm also streaming on YouTube on the Diametrically Agreeing. If you want to see it there, plus there's a chat room, or here on Facebook Live, Roden Brown, which every once in a while I get friends to tune in, which is fantastic. But okay, so back to that after the shameless plug. Maybe I will do a David Lynch podcast. Maybe I'll do one about all his movies because I love him. I think he's fantastic. I just didn't have much to say about it. I didn't. I will say this. I think that people are missing what is quite possibly the best thing he ever did, which is a series that you could find on YouTube now, but it was on HBO. I've never looked it up on Max. It might still be on Max, but it was called Rabbits. And if nobody's seen it, I believe it's 7 episodes. And it's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable work of art. It's my favorite thing he did. Yeah, he did. He did a ton. Um, Rabbits is unbelievable. And I know so far, everybody I've introduced to Rabbits has never seen Rabbits. And Rabbits is one of those things where you have to consciously invest, just like any other TV show, to watch all the episodes. You have to binge them all, either like one a day, or if you're not doing anything around the house on a Saturday or Sunday, watch the entire set. But it's a lot. Just so you know, if you're going to try to binge it like that, it's not going to work. But it's called Rabbits, and in my opinion, it was the best thing he ever did. I believe he was a Buddhist. I think I know that about him also. He was a Buddhist. Um, go, go. I'm gonna have to do that a lot, by the way. It's a dachshund. They're ridiculous. Don't get one ever. They're a total pain in the ass. Does anybody want one? No, I'm kidding. I would never give Oliver away. Fuck you for Oliver. But it got me thinking. It got me thinking. Yeah, check it out, Paul. Absolutely. Check it out. It's really neat. It's almost like the most absurd sitcom you've ever seen in your entire life. It's an absurdity sitcom, is what it is. That's the best way I could say it. But you got to check it out for yourself. Um, and it got me thinking about art. And one of the things that happened is me and my son had a really quick discussion on Instagram about art. Now, a little backstory. Me and my son, really honestly, don't get me wrong, love my ex-wife. She did a fantastic job. But really, me and my son spent more time together, I think, than anything. And I always wanted him to appreciate art. I don't know what that is. Oh, I've got Brooklyn Nine-Nine playing in the background, so you might be able to hear that a little bit. So I really tried to get him to appreciate art. I really tried to get him to be an art lover because I love art and I've always loved art. Paul can attest to this. He knows this. I have always been an art lover, always, my entire life. And so uh, he just never had it. The gene was never built into him. And I'm telling you, I took this kid probably to art museums several times every year. It just was not his thing. When he had to take an art class in college, he was so angry about like having to take an art class. And I'm like, what, Logan? You have to like art is life, in a way, art is life. That's a really idealistic way of saying it. And it is what it is. I kind of roll my eyes when I just said that, but it is. To me, I've always been an art appreciator. So for him not to love art, it really shocked me. Well, it's funny because later on in life, we have oh, oh, are you really? That's awesome. Um, no basics. Don't buy basics. Do people still buy basics? I don't even know if that's a brand. Sorry, Paul says he's out buying acrylics. I remember like your first art set as an artist is a brand called Acrylic Basics, and it's the worst acrylics in the entire world. They're the worst. See, that's how much I love art. I even know art brands, right? And so lately, as he's gotten older, we have art conversations. And of course, a lot of his is hating on art, but still he knows art. And so I called him after we talked for a few minutes on Instagram back and forth. I called him and I said, "You know what's funny? By you hating art, you're actually an art lover." And he was like, "What?" No, he's like, Are you trying to be self-congratulatory?" I was going, "Absolutely am, because hear me out. Hear me out. I tried to get you an art. You didn't like the art. It wasn't your thing. You didn't want to, sorry, don't go off, laptop. You didn't want it to be your thing, yet as you were given art in your life, and as we talked about, even you hating it, you know who artists are. You can pick out a Monet from a Van Gogh or a Picasso from Basquiat or something like that. Like you can pick these people out even in their same genre and know who they are. Right? Exactly. Right. You gave me my first heavy metal magazine, ninth grade. Oh, I did. I did. Man, I was one of the first kids I think I knew that ever had a subscription to Heavy Metal magazine. That was because of my parents. I almost, by the way, okay, we're going to get to this in a second because Heavy Metal magazine plays something into how I picked today's topic. By the way, Paul, so you'll like this. Um, so I um, so I decided what I was going to make today's topic after having that conversation with him. And I promise it's not going to get complicated in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to make it about art. We're going to talk about 5 artists. And by the way, if you're watching this and you want to pull out your phone and travel along with me, because I'm going to give you the sources I'm looking at and everything, so that you can follow along with me on this podcast, okay? But we're going to talk about art. And honestly, we are both going to praise and shit on artists, just so you know, okay? So I'm not going to we're not going to talk about artists that like I love and I think they're great, blah 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 blah. Also, it's not going to get super complex. It's not going to be like whoever it was that taped a banana to the wall and sold it for $1 million. We're not going to get crazy like that, okay? We're going to talk about 5 mainstream artists that I think most people know, and we're just going to talk about them real quick. All right. Well, I'm going to talk about them. You're going to listen, but hopefully in your head, you're having a conversation with me about this. All right. And I thought this would be a fun time. It'd be a fun little thing to kind of go through, and it's going to be very elementary. This is going to be very elementary artists. All right. Um, I'm going to be real about them. I'm going to be real about them. All right. So grab your pad and pencil, follow along with me. Follow the bouncing dot. Sorry, that was for YouTube. Follow the bouncing dot. Okay. So let's go. And I even sent the links to my laptop. I'm a little prepared, even though I only got prepared like 4 minutes before this. Okay. So we're going to talk about my very first artist is going to be Edward Hopper. Okay. In case you don't recognize the name, you will recognize it in a moment because you're going to look him up and you're going to look up. We're going to go to a specific painting, okay? Because we're going to go to kind of paintings everybody kind of knows. And you're going to look up the painting Nighthawks, okay? Nighthawks is really, I believe, his most famous painting, especially if you've been into a Spencer's Gifts, because there's always a poster of this and it's like, I don't know, like the Teletubbies are part of this painting or something like that. All right. What it is actually, it is a diner view from outside late at night, a diner on a corner, as a matter of fact, in which there are 4 people sitting in the diner. Okay. There's a couple together, there's a man by himself, and then, of course, there is the cook behind the counter. Okay. And the reason I'm bringing this up, and the reason I kind of real reason I kind of reached on the topic today is because something that came across my Instagram about Edward Hopper. All right. And about this painting. There's one facet of this painting that I never realized, I never thought about. And I like to think of myself a fairly philosophical person. So if you're looking at the painting, all right. Now, this painting is not too much like Edward Hopper's other paintings. He generally specialized in darker tones, warmer tones. Also, if you notice, if you want to get deeper into it, it now urban, rural, farm. He had all sorts of different landscapes in which was depicted almost a very similar kind of feeling. So if you're looking at Nighthawk, almost like it is at night, the diner's at night, and it's almost a solitary feeling. Okay, it's very dark. It's only these 4 people in this diner. Um, but if you look deeper into it, you notice not only in this painting, but Edward Hopper's other paintings, there was always a feeling of solitude to them. The lonely girl looking out the window, the couple at the restaurant, both kind of staring off in the distance away from each other. There was always a feeling of solitude in his characters. By the way, I also learned something. Oh, let's go to the, by the way, this is a New Yorker. Look it up. It's called Edward Hopper and American Solitude. Like I said, I was going to cite my sources so y'all could follow along and read as well. It's called Edward Hopper and American Solitude. It was in the New Yorker, and it's a phenomenal article on Edward Hopper. And it has a lot to do with looking at these scenes that he painted that, though they look peaceful, the subject have a sense of solitude in them. Let's see, which one is this? This is, Cape Cod Morning is a really good one because it shows almost like the outside of a house from its side, where it has one of those almost like an atrium window where somebody is staring. It's a woman staring out of it. And when you see her staring out of it, it's almost like she's by herself and there's some anxiousness about somebody should be there. That feeling of solitude of you're waiting on somebody. You want them to be there with you. And the diner, Nighthawks is a little different because Nighthawks, there is no anxiousness to it. It's really 4 people in a room together that are all alone, even if they're with each other. So that's going to happen because probably FedEx or Amazon. But we're gonna pretend because he'll die down. So this is the thing I did not realize about this painting that I found out today. Um, if you truly consider the painting, you see the four people and you see them in the diner and you see that they are all, even though the man and woman are together, they are still in solitude. Even though they're all in kind of close quarters in this diner with each other, there's still a feeling of solitude among the characters. This blew my mind right now. Today is if you consider there's a fifth subject to this painting, there's a fifth set of solitude, and that is you watching them. You are standing there alone watching them in this diner. So that all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's I can't believe I never considered that. As somebody who's seen this like painting a million times in print form, poster form, even popular like media culture, I had no idea that I was actually the fifth subject of the painting, or you're the fifth subject, or whoever is viewing this painting is really the other subject of this painting. Um, so I also found something out. He was also a McKinley conservative. He was, and not to get too political or whatever, but a McKinley conservative is basically a neoliberal. It's McKinley conservative is like a conservative of older days, the 50s, um, which actually, from what I know now, is a neoliberal, which I think is now I don't know, whatever it is, it's stupid. Just don't worry about it. Highly recommend it. Read the article. It's in the New Yorker. Edward Hopper and American Solitude. See, that wasn't too hard, right? That wasn't too hard. That was a easy artist that we all know and we can all talk about. I didn't want to get too far into his life or whatever. Let's see. Um, I really just want to talk more about his paintings because I think his paintings should be appreciated on their own, and that feeling of solitude is awesome in paintings. I love that, especially like the like modern classics, like from the early 1900s, were fantastic. They did really well in portraying the solitude of the times, yet the luxury of the times at the same time, coming out of the Great Depression. So just so you know. All right. So let's talk about my next one. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I gotta grab my water. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so let's talk about everybody's favorite. Let's talk about Basquiat. Boo. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I won't do that. But I feel like I want to. Here's the deal. I'm just gonna start here. Okay. I personally like Basquiat. I personally do. I wouldn't say he's fantastic. I wouldn't say he's great, but as the Pope and the pop and especially urban art of that time in the 70s and late 70s and into the early 80s, I thought was fantastic for him to do it. Uh, of course, the pop culture era, I'm not a humongous fan of, but we'll get to that in a second. Um, like Andy Warhol. Can't stand him. I'm not going to include him on any list I'm ever going to talk about because I really don't want to talk about Andy Warhol ever. I have no interest in talking about him at all. Period. I don't. He's boring to me. He's boring. All right. But I like Basquiat. I like Basquiat. I've been a fan for a very long time, and but I will tell you this: I can understand. I can understand if people don't like him. It seems ill talented. It seems kind of boring of the times, also, especially when it comes to like that late modern abstract kind of art. And I can understand that. All right. Now, being said, even worse is a lot of times his name is portrayed in a way of like rebellion or punk artist or something like that. When the honest truth is he really was pretty lame. He was actually a pretty lame person. He was a pretty lame personality. And the honest truth is, the only reason he ever even had a career was because of Andy Warhol, which is even more gross, you know? Um, it kind of sucks, but so there's a article on the Collector. It's called Nine Intriguing Facts About Basquiat. Um, let's see if I can go back to it real quick. It's very interesting by the whole fact that it's not interesting at all. It's such a boring facts about Basquiat, but the honest truth is it's true. He actually was really freaking boring. Here are the facts. Basquiat's father was Haitian, his mother was Puerto Rican. How is that an intriguing fact in any way, shape, or form? Like, that makes no sense to me how that would even be intriguing, because it's not, because he actually was a pretty boring person. As a child, Basquiat was hit by a car. Uh-huh. And did he get superpowers? Like super painting powers or like who like how is that an interesting fact? That's actually a pretty boring thing because as kids, we get in a lot of accidents. Like who like this is one of my favorites. Number 3 was so great. Basquiat dropped out of high school. And who the fuck else didn't? You know, who else didn't drop out of high school? And what? And what? And what? All of a sudden his life was so fantastic. Like what? Who cares whether he dropped like this is only the intelligentsia of the art world could find an intriguing fact that is an artist dropped out of high school. Like only like the most like privileged intelligentsia, like that's what they would think is an interesting fact about an artist. Oh, here's number 4. Here's number 4. Okay. He was interested in art from a young age. Oh, sorry. It's such a boring article. Absolutely unbelievably boring article about a boring person. Let's be honest. Basquiat was a boring person, right? See, we messed ourselves up as kids. Right, exactly. Like this is it's lame. Listen, I have a really good graphic novel that's on Basquiat, and I really thought I would like it, and I really thought I would want it, and then I got it, and I never finished reading it because it was so boring. Like that's what I never finished reading it. It was so boring. I just was like, meh, gross. And it's a graphic novel. Like how easy is it? Wasn't even a book on him. It was like it was a book with pictures. You know what I mean? Like, and I couldn't even make it through that. Like that. How bad? How boring is somebody in an artist's life that I can't even comic book of your life? You know. So there it is. If you would like to read that article, it's on the Collector. It's 9 intriguing facts or about Jean-Michel Basquiat. Um, but again, I just want to repeat, I do like his art. I did like his art. I still do like his art. I'm not a humongous fan, but I do like him. It's so boring, Paul. It's so boring. Yeah, oh my god, it was horrible. Okay, so we're gonna move on to somebody everybody knows. Again, we're sticking with pretty much people everybody knows. Okay. Um, by the way, I guess I should throw in the plug since we're about halfway through this, which is thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for being. And I'm on YouTube under Diametrically Agreeing, and you can watch it live. And there's a chat room. And also, by the way, it's changing to the I Told You So podcast. And then also, if you want to tune in on Facebook Live, like a few of y'all are, thank y'all guys. You can always find me under Ronan Brown. That's for the YouTube. See, I did that. It's cross advertising. All right, so let's go on to the third artist. Third artist is one everybody knows, which is Pablo Picasso. Okay, stop rolling your eyes. Relax. Okay, I promise the next two much more awesome. Okay, just let's all relax. Okay, thank you very much. I think it's a good title too. Again, I'm going to go ahead and just let you know full disclosure. I'm a fan. You can say what you want, but I am a fan. Okay, I've been to his house in Barcelona. You have to say it like that. You haven't been there if you don't say Barcelona. I've been to his house there, his house in Madrid, and then the first time somebody cried a painting was Guernica. And I still maintain that that is one of the best paintings ever done. It's actually one of the best pieces of visual art ever. A it is a painting, very large form. If you get a chance to look at it in that depicts, I believe if I'm correct, it is the bombing of Spain during World War II. Um, and it's fantastic. It's phenomenal. Everybody's seen it. The second you go and take a look at it, please feel free. Go take a look at it. You're going to recognize it. It is a gut wrenching piece of art, work of art that I think everybody. It not only it not only depicts the suffering of the time, but it also depicts the almost the chaos of what happens in the situations. So I highly suggest it. By the way, PabloPicasso.org. If you go to it, they have 15 Picasso fun facts. All right. Now, here's the deal. I'm gonna tell you some facts that I know about Picasso. Like I know the dude like loved women. I know that he loved women, loved him, all the way up to where he was like a fat bald guy, which always gives me hope. It always gives me hope. Anytime a fat bald guy, anytime somebody like women love a fat bald guy, I'm like, I'm in. I am in. Let's do this, ladies. Come on. Let's bring the fat bald guy love back. I mean, we're all right. We're all right. We're all right. We're good looking people. Yeah, we're a little hair challenged and maybe we should probably do it for a bra, but we're looking good. We're looking good, baby. Twinkle, twinkle, baby. Twinkle, twinkle. So on I do know that about him. I also know he was a prolific fighter. Like he loved to fight. He was a big fan of going. Um, he was not it was not unheard of for him to steal somebody's girlfriend and then fist fight them outside of a bar. Like, so I do know those things about Pablo Picasso. But let's look at what Pablo Picasso org has as fun facts. Okay, Picasso's full name has 23 words. This is not a joke. His full name actually is 23 words. I'm not even going to try it. It starts with Pablo Diego Jose Francisco de Paulo Juan Nepomencio Maria de los Remedios Cipriano de la. It's so much. It's insane, but it's awesome. So that is not a boring fact. Like that is like juxtapose that with Basquiat. He got hit by a car. Like, really? Really, dude? You got hit by a car? My name is 23 words long and what? And what? Oh, you dropped out of high school? My first word was pencil. Oh, you were interested since you were a kid, huh? Yeah, my first word was pencil, Basquiat. What you think about that? You know? So just it's a good juxtaposition between, you know, two lives. All right. Um, so there we go. There we go. Pablo Picasso's Guernica, humongous fan of. Now, this one not everybody knows. Even if he no joke, he was in an episode of The Simpsons. Okay, he was in an episode of The Simpsons. People still don't know who he is. All right, but I think that y'all will. I think that you will if you follow along with me. That's a name filling out forms, right? Jesus Christ, imagine putting that on your driver's license. So my fourth artist is a artist that I feel everybody should know. He is actually one of my favorites also. His name was Jasper Johns. Okay. Oh, it might still be is Jasper Johns. I don't even know if he's still alive. Um, is Jasper Johns. Now, following me, I'll let you know my favorite painting from Jasper Johns. It is called Target. All right. I'll go ahead. This is the best way I can describe him to start article. This is also in the collector, okay? And it's what is Jasper John's best known art is the article, all right? And the byline starts out perfectly, which is Jasper Johns was a neo-Dada artist in the United States during the mid 20th century whose experimental art helped lead the way for pop art. 100% true. If you want to know why I hate Andy Warhol, Jasper Johns is the reason why. Okay. There's also a guy named Ray Johnson, but we can get into that at some farther other time. Go see a movie, How to Draw a Bunny. Just saying, wow, rabbit themed. Just realized it. Second mention of a rabbit during the podcast. Yeah, so that's a great way to say it. Jasper Johns was a neo Dada artist in the United States during the mid 20th century whose experimental art helped lead the way for pop art. Absolutely 100% true. A lot of times when pop art is brought up, immediately Brillo box, Campbell's soup, banana, blah, 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 blah. Immediately, it's always Warhol. But the honest truth is, Warhol wasn't even close to not only who created pop art, he wasn't even close to the best by far. Now, there can be an argument made that pop art kind of sucks. I won't argue with you completely. I'm not going to. I will not argue with you completely. All right. It is a little reproductive. It is a little monotonous, understandable, and it may seem basic. But you have to understand that the times in which pop art started, that was kind of where, especially America, was heading. Do we still have a version to the color yellow? I actually don't. So, no, I don't. I think about that every once in a while. We will not mention where that came from this chat, by the way, just so you know, we will keep that between me and you. All right. That's between me and you and about four other people on this podcast that will probably watch this podcast, by the way. So, um, yeah, so in a way, the way America was going, especially during the early 20th, the mid 20th century, whenever pop art started, it was very it the world was very becoming very manufactured. That's when we were coming out with automatic washing machines. That's when we were coming out with even the remote for the TV. That's when we were coming out with Hungry Man dinners. Everything was being reproduced. So everything looked like a reproduction. On top of the fact that when you look back at the advertising to the average family, it was the very nuclear family, almost always the same smile. If I can be deep real quick and even present something that, or grab a deep cut real quick, very Church of the Subgenius, Bob Dobbs-ish, which that's how the world was happening. Branding became essential. Very good way of saying it. Branding became essential during the mid 20th century. So of course, that's how pop art starts. That's exactly how it starts, you know. Um, so it's understandable, but if you take it in its flex of time, for instance, like Target or American Flag that Jasper Johns did, you will understand the reason why it was like that. All right. So please go read thecollector.com again. What is Jasper Johns' best known art? Please go read that article. I'm telling you, if you don't know about him, I think he was a great artist, but I have a feeling most of my friends do. If anybody remembers in high school, I wore a Jasper Johns t-shirt all the time. All the time. I had the Target t-shirt. Like I wore that thing until there were holes in it. Pretty sure an ex-girlfriend stole it. But let's be honest. What ex-girlfriend hasn't stole something from me? Even a piece of my soul. Okay, so now let us talk about our last artist. Now, this last artist is going to seem very, very, very elementary. All right. And I understand. I understand, but I don't believe that this artist gets enough. It's almost like the talk about this artist has kind of died down. Who is whining about? Oh, okay, never mind. He's right behind me, whining about me, whining to me. So I don't think this. I think there's like the talk of this artist has been dying over a while, and I don't. I There's always these waves in which artists go into obscurity and then come back in obscurity, and it has a lot to do with trends and fashion trends and things like that. Um, Hi, baby. What? Where's your stupid thing at? Hold on one second. All right. Here. Oh, okay. I'm gonna throw this real quick. Give me 1 second. Okay. So, this last artist. I got this off of what's known as Arctic EDU. Okay, and the article is 12 things to know about Georgia O'Keeffe. Okay, I'll be honest with you. In my early days of liking art, never really appreciated her. Truly did not. Never really saw a lot in it, besides the fact that like flowers are vaginas. I mean that was kind of what I like when I was younger. That was what I got out. Flowers are vaginas. What's that? Oh, it's a flower. Well, what is it? It's actually a vagina. I mean, that's what you always thought of when you thought of Georgia O'Keeffe. All right, but I want you to take a second and I want you to take a look at. I believe it is called Electric Light or ballerina. Oh, there it is. Yes, ballet skirt or electric light. That's the title of the painting. That is one of my favorite paintings by her. It's phenomenal. It's from the White Rose motif. It was done 1927, and I highly suggest you go take a look at it. It is one of my favorite paintings. Um, there were times Georgia O'Keeffe. A lot of artists struggle. Okay, a lot of artists struggle. That's a kind of a big topic. That's kind of a was it a main topic of artists is their suffering, right? You always think of the suffering artist, starving artist, things like that, right? Things like Basquiat died of a heroin overdose. Uh, who else? Van Gogh cut off his. You go to all the regular like niche things about artists. But the thing I liked about George O'Keeffe, and I've always liked that I even learned when I was younger, right? We create through struggle. As I've gotten older, I don't know if sometimes I roll my eyes at it. I got to be honest with you because from doing stand up comedy, honestly, I do have to be honest with you. Sometimes I do create through watching success, I guess is probably a better way to say it. I mean, I don't struggle all that bad any think as a whole on a daily basis. But I don't know. I'm on the fence as I get older about that creating through struggle. I got to be honest with you. I really am. Um, I want to read this quote from George O'Keeffe real quick. Okay. I said to myself, I have things in my head that are not like what anyone has taught me, shapes and ideas near to me, so natural to my way of being and thinking that it hasn't occurred to me to put them down. I decided to start anew, to strip away what I had been taught. I have to be honest with you. I love that quote. And if you read that quote also, that quote reads like a Georgia O'Keeffe painting, doesn't it? It almost reads like this really calming wave the way she's saying it. It's like she's saying it. What? I don't hear this. Like that quote is so soft spoken rebellious. Does that make sense? Like it's um like uh gentle opposition, where she was like, I had these things in my head. I wanted to get them out. And it was like something I'd never seen and something that nobody was doing. And I just couldn't get them out. I couldn't get it out of my head. So I decided I'd figure a way to do it. It's just like, oh, well, that sounds good. Like take me along with you, Mother George O'Keeffe. It's so soft the way she says, she speaks about this conflict of trying to create. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Um, I want to say, hey, listen, do this. Enough. Go play with yourself for a second. Sounds gross. Sounds like I'm talking to a weird kid with Down syndrome. There. Go play with yourself for a minute. Not in that way. Let's calm down. Calm down, everybody. All right. Um, So yeah, I have always that I don't know what is ballet skirt has always kind of touched me in a way, and it's the same thing. It's a very soft painting. So take a look, please. If you're supposed to be following along with me. Um, it's very, very, very sweet. I do love her stuff, and I think as I get older, I grow a much bigger appreciation. I think her museum, by the way, isn't her museum in some place that you would totally expect it to be like Taos or something like that. I'm almost positive. I'm not gonna look it up because who cares? I'll never go to it. Uh, and not like go to it. Even I'll tell you this, like the Picasso thing, like saying that I've been to Picasso's house. Like, I didn't really intentionally go. Like, I'm not going to intentionally go. I just happened to be walking down the street in Barcelona, and I just happened to be next to it, and went, "Oh, okay, I'll go in." I'm not going to go out of my way. There is one artist who I went should be the observer about all that. Absolutely, absolutely. It's all in calm ways. Like her motive or her motif, sorry, is even her urban and factory settings are like calming. It's so neat. It's so neat. I did one time. go out of my way to go to a go to an artist studio. I did one time, and I went to Keith Haring's studio in New York, in middle of Manhattan. Actually, it's not middle of Manhattan. It's like down near downtown. Um, I did do that. I went to Keith Haring's gallery, and it was his workspace that they eventually turned into his gallery, and that was fantastic. That was great. That actually was really awesome. I'm really glad that I went out of my way to go to it. It was on my first trip to New York, and it was like my last day there, and I made my way there. I made sure to go to it, and that was great. I'm glad I did. I'm truly, truly glad I did. All right, so well, there. Look, that wasn't so hard, was it? 5 artists. We just kind of got through it, and we all learned something. It was interesting, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. I have no idea. It may not have been interesting. Sorry, I'm kind of fucking with shit. Hey, go. Enough. Enough. Go play. Go play. Oh shit. All right. One more throw during the podcast. All right. So that was fun. Thanks for coming along. This was a little longer. All right. I'm slowly getting things together. So I'm slowly finding like my intro and outro music. I'm slowly going to put a screen behind me so it looks like something other than, listen. If you you can't see it over here. You can see it on YouTube, but you can't see it on Facebook. Okay. So, I got to have a little JT, you know. So the environmental change, I really do plan on doing something with this. I think I do. I really think I do. So besides that, thanks for coming along. Thank you very much for coming along. I had a great time. I'm glad. See, now that's all out of pocket now. God darn it. Okay, there we go. I really had a good time. A lot for tuning in. Thanks a lot for being there. Paul, buddy, I am glad you stuck with me. Thank you so much. Had a great time. It was nice to see you around. Um, Besides that, I hope everybody, I shall, man. I'm going to keep it up. I promise. So, besides that, listen, everybody have a good week. I am going to do this on Saturdays from now on. By the way, I've decided I don't want to do Sundays anymore. I want to do Saturdays. That was Sunday to myself. Listen, I'm getting a little selfish. But that way I can go do an open mic or something tomorrow. So, but thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. I hope everybody has a good rest of their weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. That's a big deal. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. I think I might get out of here and go see a movie. So, besides that, we'll go ahead and love each other. Love yourselves.
Estilo diferente, musical, pinche canción. A quien me ponga a cantar del otro vicio del mal, cigarro, cerveza, tequila. Ay, compadre, no ves, me estás pisando los pies, te la debes de cortar. Cada ser vacío, no falta ver la emoción, con gritos de pinche alegría. Pero compadre abusado, que me tumbaste al trago, mejor y vete a sentar. Ay, 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 ay.
All right, bye. Bye,
No le
everybody.
des de pistear, porque no para, no puede, es mejor que le atorgue.